Okay, so welcome everyone to this call with our international family here as we're in the middle of this global pandemic it's pretty, I feel like everything's upside down here in New York. Everything's changed. Our daily lives have changed. And of course, this is started overseas. Italy has been hit so hard. We want to hear from Paolo and our Italian colleagues, but of course, we're all feeling the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. So I want to, take a moment as we're all pretty hyper-focused on our local communities to also take a moment to have some global solidarity and to learn, we as a slow food movement, the strength is that we're global. We're not just local. We're not just these only connected to the local communities. So I want to take this hour to think about the global community and how we together can respond to COVID-19 and really position ourselves to be stronger and to support the food system even more when this is over. Because, the thing we're seeing now is slow food is what the world needs right now. I think, we don't want big ag to win in this situation. We want the local food economies to be strengthened and empowered. So I think we have a really big moment here to make sure that we are together and stronger and standing in solidarity. So this call, I've invited all of the slow food chapter leaders in the US to join us, as well as the governors, the board, and then some global leaders that some of you may know and some of you may not know as well. We have Paolo Di Croce. He's the General Secretary of Slow Food International, who's based in Italy. We have Marta Messa, who's the Director of Slow Food Europe. We have Ursula Hudson, who is the President of Slow Food Germany. And we have Elisa Demichelis, who many of you may know. She's our international liaison for Slow Food USA, and she's also the program manager for Anglo-Saxon countries. I just wanted to start this call with explaining some of the Slow Food USA response, and some of you have already participated in these things, and I'm excited for that. But one thing Kim and I were just chatting about is we've launched this Slow Food Live. It's basically a Skillshare series. We've had good success. Our first one about how to start a sourdough starter had over 500 people register for that session. We've done a bunch of different ones. Kim's doing how to start seeds at home. We're working on one with Unisig about how to make black garlic, these very how-to sessions that dig into the very slow food moment that we're all living in right now. I'm also working really hard with our international colleagues and the Slow Food USA board on a national resilience fund, so we're trying to do some national fundraising in order to get real money through the local chapters to the local producers and the people who really just need an infusion of funds right now. So we're pitching this to corporations that we have relationships with, as well as foundations and major donors. If anyone has resources or ideas for that, I'd be happy to chat with you, but hopefully we'll get a significant funding base so that we can have applications from slow food chapters and be able to get funds directly to the people that you're working with and who really need it right now. I'll put some other resources in the chat box so you can see, like the mutual aid database we have going, the Plant a Seed campaign. But I don't want to spend too much time on the Slow Food USA response. I want to turn it over directly to Paolo now so he can address what's happening in Italy, how can we support, and how we can all be in solidarity. Paolo?
Thank you, Hannah. Hi, everyone. I think we already met with many of you, and nice to meet all the others. And thank you for this opportunity, because I really think that the real strength of our organization has always been being a global network. And I really think that, especially in period of crisis, this is one of our biggest values. As you all know, I think that the situation in Italy is very bad, but unfortunately now, from what we read on the media and we watch the television, also the situation in your country is very bad and is really getting very, very bad in many different places. We have been closed in full lockdown for the last more than 3 weeks now. That means that I think, as in many of your places, everything is closed. We cannot leave our homes, and also in all the economic activities and enterprises are stuck, and nothing is really moving in Italy. So of course, also the food staff is not in the position to work. We are all volunteering, but we are closing home and trying to be ready for the future. But what I wanted to share with you is that I really believe that this crisis it's another clear signal of the fact that that we are right. That, as Anna said, the world, so food is what the world needs. I mean, it's clear that the system that has run the world in the last years, it's completely broken, completely failed. And this is now it's a new crisis, but we don't have to forget the climate crisis, all the social inequities, and all the other crises that clearly shows that we need a change, and that it's really time, if we want to guarantee the future for our planet, to change our behavior and to change all the decisions that are made at political level, starting from the real top decision makers, arriving to every one of us. And I also believe that I'm sure we are all reading a lot of news and everything, but if we analyze some of the keywords that now are on the everyone is talking about short chain. Everyone is talking about local production. Everyone is talking about create connection between producers and consumers. Everyone is talking about the necessity of eating fresh food. And the word community, I don't know in your country, but now in Italy, all the big corporations and in their advertisement campaigns, they all say that they are communities and that we have to build communities and everything. It has been 30 years that we are talking about the importance of being a community in Terra Madre, in Slow Food, in all our local chapters, in all our local groups. It's really the key and the answer for this crisis. And so we have really to be proud of what we have been saying for years, and to try to increase the level of impact that we have always done and that we will do, trying to really put at the center all our values and ideas, and this everywhere, because the role of small-scale farmers is crucial everywhere, and it's dramatic in Italy, in the US, but it's also dramatic all over the world. I spoke to our Vice President, Elisa Demichelis. I think someone of you know him. He's from Uganda, and they are also living a complete lockdown. That means that in big cities, they are not eating. The situation in the countryside, it's difficult, but at least they can survive and they can eat. But there is a tragedy going on in all the cities because they close the markets, they close the possibility to really to exchange something. And so there, the pandemic is really transforming in a food security crisis, as it's going to happen in Europe, as it's going to happen everywhere if we don't really think in a different way. So the message that we think that every slow food leader, every slow food person in the planet has to try to deliver is to try really to say that our values, they should be put at the center of everything. All the decisions when we go to buy, the solution, I don't know if it's also happening in your country, but here the first reaction is to go to the supermarket and to buy unbelievable tons of junk food, so that we can put everything in our fridge or in the shelves and eat crap for the next months. That is not the solution. The solution is to really go back to the direct chain, to go back to the small farmers, and to really trying to work at political level, at political agenda, to try to change what the decision makers are saying. And I really believe that we have to be ready, and so food has to be ready. 1 minute, 1 hour after the lockdown will be closed, we have to be ready with ideas, with options, with actions, like the resilience fund that Anna created. I really think that it's a great opportunity to show that thanks to our network, we can really have an impact. We can have an impact at local level, and having an impact in many different places at local level can show that there is a solution, that there is a hope for the future, and especially if it's connected with the rest of the world. So I really think that it's important that what we will do, what we are doing in these days, but especially what we will do in the first weeks after the crisis, it will be part of the solution, not only to overcome the emergency, but to have a kind of long-lasting solution. I'm very happy about what the network is showing, is demonstrating in these days, in these difficult days. And you will listen from Ursula, from Marta, from Elisa, some examples of how the network is reacting and how means being part of a family. Because as we always say, it's time for solidarity, it's time of friendship, it's time of generosity. We have to stop with competition. If we continue with competition, we will destroy the planet. If we really change our attitude, we can have a hope, and we can have all together a solution in our own local communities, but also in the at global level to be ready one day after the lockdown. And you know, I'm always too long. Who knows me? I'm always too long. It's a conference call. I have to stop here. But I really think that I want to thank all of you for what you are doing in your own local communities. And I invite you to be really part of this global network, because all together we will overcome the crisis, and we will be very, very in a great position to be stronger and to have an impact. And I would ask now to Elisa, that I think the huge majority of you knows, to share with all of us some examples of how the network is reacting in this difficult period, to really show that we are alive and that we need the help from everyone, but really that some good options are already happening. So Elisa.
Thanks, Paolo, and hello to everyone. Following up with what Paolo has just said, although we have been working for the past few weeks under very limited capacities, also at the international office in Bra, we have been trying to use these and see these as an opportunity to create more connections and strengthen the collaborations that we already have with some of other offices and branches of Slow Food across the world. So we focus very much our work and our strength on using our communication channels as Slow Food International, but also through the help of the national organizations and the communication and the social media channels of all the chapters and all the Slow Food Network worldwide, to share as much as possible, collect, gather, and spread the science and the activities, projects, initiatives that our network, from Italy to the Philippines to Australia, Latin America, Brazil, have been doing to support the farmers, to support the producers, and to support the connections between consumers and producers, as real signs of solidarity and resilience of our communities. So we have been partnering and a lot with Slow Food USA. The Slow Food Lives that have shown to be pretty successful, and thanks to all of you who have already participated as hosts, but also as participants. We would like to keep going on that track, really supporting and using our social media channels and our communication channels as platforms to give the opportunity to really share what our network and what are the solutions that have already been put in place by our network to respond to this crisis, and how also these initiatives could be part of the future that we all want to support and build. One of the initiatives that some of you might be aware of and might have been part is actually the World Disco Soup Day, which is an initiative that has been created and supported by the Slow Food Youth Network. Started from the Netherlands, but then spread globally as a day and as an initiative to celebrate positive actions that contribute and support the fight against food waste. This year, due to the challenges and due to the fact that no events could take place physically, the World Disco Soup Day, for example, is going digital, completely digital. So the initiative has been confirmed, and it will happen as planned. But instead of encouraging the chapters, the groups, and the communities to organize local events, everyone will be asked to join online, and this will be also a kind of test and for all of us to see how we can better utilize the technological platforms that we have at disposal, and see how we can learn from that, and possibly and eventually use this also in other opportunities. This is just one of the many initiatives that have been acting and that have been confirmed in a slightly different format, but showing really that our Slow Food Network is present, is strong, and is really working to ensure and to provide and give solidarity support, not to the existing network, but also to all the communities in needs. I'll turn it to Marta now to get a little bit of an overview about what is happening and how we are working at European level and also at international level.
Thank you, Elisa. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you, for those of you who are on video. Yes, so indeed, following up on what Elisa just said, it's been really inspiring to see what the network has come up, and really not just in Europe, really, but worldwide. And just to give you a few examples, there have been initiatives to deliver food to hospitals. There have been initiatives to deliver food to people in need, initiatives to set up databases for connecting, so as to connect farmers with consumers. Some very creative things we had not been doing before, like using digital tools indeed to connect again farmers and consumers. And I invite you to go and check a bit our Facebook page of Slow Food International. There is the hashtag Slow Food Solidarity. And basically we're posting once a day an example from across the world, and you really find them from all across the world. So that has been extremely inspiring. And indeed, besides this, the work that our global network has been doing at grassroots level, which is absolutely important, there's also a lot of work that we've been doing in terms of influencing at the same time decision makers who are deciding right now on the future of food or starting to decide about it. So at the European level at the moment, there is this big talk about what is called the Green Deal, which is about how to make basically the whole European Union a lot more sustainable. Of course, this might be delayed also because now all leaders are busy discussing how to face the current crisis, clearly. But we have not stopped working with partner organizations to make sure that we have a say, to make sure that we participate in consultations on what should happen around GMOs and so on. And besides these processes going on at European level, we've also been invited to participate in some of the preparatory work ahead of the UN Food Summit, which is supposed to take place in 2021. So we participated in a workshop last week. I should say that we have been not shy in saying what we thought was not working about the Food Summit 2021, and you might find on our media channels the letter that we signed together with many other partner organizations, denouncing the fact that the special envoy to this UN Food Summit comes from businesses as usual, and creating pressure to make sure that the voices of small-scale farmers, food artisans, activists, and basically of the people who believe in the kind of vision we have also get a spot at the table and are listened to. So we've been participating, and just today we participated also in a Twitter chat, indeed discussing with the Food and Agriculture Organization of the UN and other institutions and organizations about what this crisis is teaching us and how we've been reacting and how we see the future of food developing. Yes, one thing that I should say is that the work that we've been doing, so both in terms of trying to influence decision-making processes and the work at grassroots level has been picked up, and we also got an invitation from the European Parliament, who's doing also communication work on its side to explain what's going on. But basically, the European institutions are going to give even more visibility to what we've been doing because they found what our network is doing very inspiring, and they want to inspire others to do the same. So this is just an example of the echo that we are getting. And besides that, indeed, as Elisa also mentioned, we've been trying to work a lot more closely than usual with all the different offices and associations at national level of Slow Food. And that's why it's great to have on this call also Ursula Hudson as president of Slow Food Germany. There have been humongous, I should say, but very good signs of solidarity from the German network to whom we've reached out to. I'll stop here. I pass on the floor to Ursula to explain what happened. Thanks.
Thank you, Marta. Thank you all for having me there. It's nice to see you. Yes, we have been in Germany, of course, and me particularly in southern Germany, close to Italy. The Italian border, have been observing what's going on in Italy before COVID-19 hit Germany in the way it has. It was to be expected, of course, but seeing what was going on in Italy, this really dramatic crisis unfolding, we thought we need to do something very quickly for the international network, and called out for support for the international network, because it was very clear, and speaking to Marta and Paolo at times, very clear that the offices in Bra are not going to work anymore. So what's going to happen? What do we need? What do we need when we start again? And so I sent out a letter to our network members, supporters, everybody alike, in support for the mothership in Bra. And we had fantastic responses. I must admit, I had never expected it, particularly from our local chapters and Convivia, who often moan and grumble about Slow Food International in Italy, and why do we have to, and why do we have to do this, and why do we have to pay, and why, after all, and all explaining over the years might have paid a bit off, because the first reaction was, we cannot let the mothership go down. 35 years of work in Bra, and we don't do anything about it. So we had, I think, a very, very good response. And in a second way around, the Convivia started to discuss how much of their basically annual income, the available money they have in a year, they were prepared to give to Slow Food International, and they came up with a figure of 25%, and I thought that was quite stark. We didn't compel all of them to pay the 25%, but they did it voluntarily, and I think quite a significant amount of money was transferred so far to Bra, and I think that was absolutely fantastic. That happened all in 1 week. In the second week, we thought, oh, our own producers, because meanwhile, COVID-19 had hit ourselves in a similar way, but not as dramatic. And so we thought, our own producers, what do we need to do there? The gastronomists, the restaurants, how horrific the lockdown is for them. And we set up very quickly also within a week. It was, I said always, it was exhausting like a marathon to do all of this in such short time, to set up a online shopping map where all our members, producers, and also those who think they are alike slow food, because I said we don't need to be that fussy at the moment, who is, and differentiate very finely who is nearer to us and who not. Doesn't matter. All small producers can make an entry if they have a farm shop, if they have a delivery service or whatever, so that the local network can become a bit more robust, because I really think this is the moment of slow food, as bad as it is, because it's all about the local, it's all about the diversity of the good food we need, and it's about the home cooking. So it's the moment of home, whether we like it or not. It's the moment of the local, it's the moment of the good food, and good food is diverse food. Strangely enough, also the experience of everybody is cities become very unfavorable places. The countryside is the better place at the moment. It's the moment of the farmer, it's the moment of the food producer. And we all have to stand together in order to overcome this, to make this work, to learn new things and come out the other end, hopefully unharmed as a business as well as individuals. But what impressed me really most in all of it was the great force of solidarity, the great force of the push, the idea of really standing together and helping each other, and also in the first week really the momentum it gained to help Slow Food International. And I think this is something we really need to look at, because what are we without that? Nothing, really. All the good ideas I have learned in my life come from there. So I'm terribly grateful to Slow Food. And therefore, I think we have to stand together and help each other as much as we can. Thanks. Our shopping map has really taken off massively. The second day it was running, it was in a national paper. So, and it didn't cost a lot of money either. So it was very good. And it's still running.
Thank you. Thank you, Ursula. We have really seen the need, the financial need of Slow Food International. And I put in my email that we are asking all the chapters in the US to follow the lead of Slow Food Germany to also support Slow Food International. This is a really important moment. I mean, as they're, you know, Slow Food International supports the Arc of Taste, the Terra Madre, the Cooks Alliance, all these beloved programs that chapters also activate in your local communities. They now really need our financial support. So Kim, you're asking what help does Slow Food International most need? I'll let Paolo answer too, but I know a big part of this is financial support. And if we as chapters in the US can together pitch in to give Slow Food International some funding at this moment, that goes a long way for Slow Food International, and it really helps to show our solidarity with the international, the mothership, as Ursula put it so well.
Yeah, thank you. And I think that before responding, I also want to strengthen what Ursula said, because I really believe that it's crucial to support and to be very active at local level to show that we are together with the producers, we are together with the restaurant that now they are closed and they will face so many problems and issues immediately in the next month. And we have to show that many of the politicians, many of the decisions that have been ruled the last months and years, we have to fight to change. I just want to share you an example that we are working with a lot of communities of migrants in Italy. And you know, like in your country, we are against Italians, the government, they are against migrants and everything. Without migrants, the restaurants, they will never open again. Without migrants coming to Italy, it's not possible to do the harvesting in the fields. The economy stops, agriculture is over, and we have to stand close to our communities of migrants to express not only solidarity, but to show that thanks to them and thanks to all our values, we can really overcome the crisis and show that a different model is different than the good, clean and fair food for all. It's a necessity and it's the only solution for the future of the planet. So the first thing that we all need, Slow Food International, Slow Food USA, Slow Food Chicago, Slow Food, every single chapter, but also every single person, is to act and to try to help and to support the farmers, the local community, the restaurant, whoever is involved, to show that that something different is possible. So I really invite everyone to act in this way, and please spend some time also to read the fund, the relief fund. How is called, the Slow Food Resilience Fund, that Anna is working on, because it can help a lot. Slow Food in the US, it will be replicated worldwide, but Slow Food in the US, to show that we are part of the solution, and also to try, if you have any contacts and any friends in corporations, in foundations, in philanthropies, whoever, to support this fund, because can really make the difference through our chapters. Because what really makes us different from everyone else is our network of thousands and thousands of local groups that everywhere in the planet, they know the real protagonist of the food production. Then what else we need? Clearly, we need to some also financial support to be operative, because now we all live with governmental support, and so our operations are limited. We have a lot of ideas and we cannot be stopped. So we have to be ready to start 1 second after the lockdown will be over, with all our energy, all our strength, and all our potential to really make the difference everywhere in the planet. And I really believe that this time, as clearly Ursula with her marvelous job and what all the chapter in Germany they showed, is that we are one Slow Food. I always say this, I'm a broken record. I don't care if Slow Food is international, is USA, is one chapter, is one community, is Germany, is Tokyo. We are one Slow Food, and we are fighting for a better world. So now we are in a weak position. In many other times, other organizations has been, other levels has been in a weak position. We all have to be stronger, but everyone has to contribute in the way we can. It's not necessary to do big donation. Everyone has to do something. And if there is no money to give, go to buy some fresh food in the market, and you have done something perfect to develop and to promote the food. Invite your friends to become members. Invite everyone to really think that or we change now, or there will be not a future for the next generation. Before this crisis, we were saying we only have 10 years. If we will not change in the next 10 years, there will be not a future for human being. This crisis is speeding up the process. It's not something new. It's not that something is changing. It's just that we have to be faster, because it shows that the system is collapsed, and all together we can survive. So really, do what you can financially, in actions, in whatever you think, but we need to stand, and we need to be a multitude all together to really being able to to grow and to tell our stories and to share our stories, because we have to be as an example and a best practice for a lot of other companies and organizations, avoiding that also from this crisis, the big corporations and the big chain of supermarkets, they will win. They are winning now, but they will lose if we stand all together.
Thank you, Paolo. I'd like to take some time for questions now. Julie is asking, how do we send money to Slow Food International? I set up a specific campaign link on our website that 100% of money that comes through this form will go to Slow Food International. So we're collecting money here and then wiring it over to them directly. And this, I think the main ask here, I mean, of course, individuals, if you're able to contribute, that's amazing. But I think the big ask here is for chapters to contribute to this fund and to show the solidarity with Slow Food International. Any other questions? Ursula, you have a comment?
Sorry, yeah. Comment is, some of the chapters were saying, you know, what are we going to do with the money in this sort of year that is not unfolding well for activities like meeting and producer visits and whatever chapters do. There isn't much opportunity to spend the money, so we can right away spend it where it's really most needed, and that is at Slow Food International level.
Any questions that we can ask these our international friends here? Chelsea is asking, is there a Disco Soup event happening virtually that we can all join? Or is the idea that each chapter should try to put on their own virtual event with their community? Marta or Elisa, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I can pick that up. So the idea at the moment is that basically everyone does their own kind of live, if I'm understanding correctly the plan. So everybody basically records their own event. Jorrit and Valentina, who are the coordinators of the Slow Food Youth Network, are checking whether there can also be a possibility technically to have a moment where everybody comes together. Yes, so if you manage as a chapter to put on your own virtual event with your community, we will find in any case a way to try and connect all these different events happening digitally at the same time, or in the same day rather.
Thank you, Marta. Kim is asking, is there a chance that Terra Madre will happen this year? What are you thinking? I think everyone wants to know.
I think I can keep this question.
Okay.
The answer is that I think that there is more than a chance. Of course, now it's too early to make any decisions because we don't know when the lockdown will be over and we don't know the rules after the lockdown. But as I said before, we really believe that our job now is more important than ever, and we have already also spoken with our main partners of the institutions, the city of Turin and the region, and they see in Terra Madre hopefully a good example of showing that a different model is possible and showing the clear direction for the future. So we are already working to try to figure out different kind of scenarios. I think that it will not be possible to think about Terra Madre in the same way as in the past. For sure, we will have to adapt something, but for sure, Terra Madre will exist and will have the opportunity and hopefully the strength to deliver to the entire world which is the solution. How, we will see, but the idea is to keep it, and up to now we are not even thinking about the change of dates, and so to confirm it in October. Then of course we will see, but as soon as we will have some ideas, we will be more than happy to share with everyone the different updates. But as I said, we have to stress the idea and the fact that we have to be there, we have to be public, and we have to involve and to try to reach as many people as possible, also through Terra Madre.
Thank you, Paolo. I think the same question is to Slow Food Nations, and this moment, I think things are changing so quickly. We are in the process of talking to partners and collaborators to see what's possible. So we will get back. Hopefully we'll have more direction in May to share with the network. But yeah, I know a lot of the chapter events have been canceled. We had to move Slow Fish, which was scheduled for New Hampshire back a year. We had a Slow Food Charleston, Southeast Slowdown regional meeting planned for May. That got pushed back a year. So these events in the spring have definitely had to be postponed, but the fall, it's so hard to know what the world will look like come the fall.
Yeah, and if I can add, for example, we have also postponed Terra Madre Brazil. Was supposed to happen in June, a big gathering, but now it's planned in or fall or the end of the year. And also Terra Madre Balkans, that is another important event that we are holding in Europe, and also Terra Madre Nordic, that was in the Nordic part of Europe. So we are postponing, but we hope that in autumn will be possible to have to restart with some of these events.
Cynthia is asking, how about support for Africa? Are there efforts to help them?
Yes, we are in close contact with our leaders there. Clearly, the situation there is a little bit different, because in some countries there are how you say, the spread of the virus is it's still in an initial phase, and so they are not already completely locked down, but in some places, and I spoke directly yesterday and the day before yesterday with our leaders in Kenya and Uganda, where the situation is very bad. For example, as I mentioned briefly before about Uganda, and also in Kenya, the disaster is that they closed all the farmer markets. And so it's really very, very, very difficult. And we already, we are working with our people there to write some projects to apply for funding. We will apply in this week, at the beginning of next week, for example, to the Agroecology Fund. That is a fund that put together different foundation and funders to really be able to fund some of our communities and to really be able to try to overcome the crisis. And the same idea of this the resilience fund that Anna is launching, that we are launching in the US, we are going to launch it in Italy with the aim also to support projects in the Global South. So we are trying to act with the fact that as I mentioned before, in a way, in Africa, our network and our communities, we are a little bit luckier because it's more a countryside network, because it's a Terra Madre network, so they are farmers. So at least they are not living, we are not big communities in the big cities, so at least they are, of course, they are facing troubles, but they are not in a food security problem now, because it's they are, let's say, 90% of our network in Africa is made by producers. So in that sense, it's a little bit better, but clearly we are trying to work with them to attract, to create projects, to raise funds from foundations and from corporations.
Thank you, Paolo. People have been chatting in a few responses that the local network is doing. Jennifer Breckner and Chelsea in Chicago are partnering with Advocates for Urban Agriculture and a Chicago-based funder to give Chicagoland farm business grants. So thanks to you guys for helping to coordinate that. In New York State, Laura Luciano is working with Fabrizio, Alexina, and Samantha, some cooks and chefs and chapters in New York State. They're Laura, do you want to just either chat or jump on quickly on what that initiative is specifically? Maybe you can just chat it
Oh,
some more
hey.
detail. Oh, there you are.
Sorry,
Okay. Sorry, put you on the spot here.
So Fabrizio, as some of you know, he's a chef here in New York City, an Italian chef, and he's been gathering together with, I guess, other Italian chefs here in New York State. The name of the organization is called Italians Feed America, and you can check it out at italiansfeedamerica.org. And Alexina, you know, what that program does basically it's giving, you know, feeding the poverty children, those that are impacted by COVID-19. And on our New York State call this week, we identified a few partners. Samantha Levy, that is from the American Farmland Trust, has been working hard with the Farmer Relief Fund. And so she has a pulse on a lot of the policy that's going on. She has a pulse on, you know, the funds that are, these grants that are being given to farmers. And she also is part of, you know, trying to get access to people that are less fortunate to get food to them. And so what happened in our state call is that Fabrizio was starting to talk to Samantha about some needs about trying to get food distribution to places that people that don't have access to food. And then Alexina, who is also on our board, she basically works at Hunter College, and they put together a food resource guide that they basically are connecting community members in need of food resources. So the trifecta, if you will, of Fabrizio with what he's doing with other chefs as well across the United States, and specifically here in New York where it groundswelled, and the combination of Alexina, Fabrizio, and Samantha have, today I'm following emails on how they're connecting with each other to be able to transport food to people that are in need during the crisis. So it's very interesting in how our community is defining for the state chapter in where we can be able to be a catalyst to help with those that are in need. And so what we're going to do now is to be able to put a resource guide through New York State to send out to state chapters on how we all can come together as a community to be able to help with this crisis. And not only within our communities, but also how can we help Slow Food USA? That will be going out into that letter, and also Slow Food International.
Thank you, Laura. We're seeing that partnerships are so important in all of this, to collaborate with others. Kim put in the comment here, she wanted to echo what Kim Bayer wanted to echo what Ursula said about so many of the good ideas around food and community, the importance of Indigenous peoples, a vision for a better future, the foundations of biodiversity, and so much more, creating ways for people to see and experience all of that. That's come from the Slow Food Mothership and Slow Food International. And she wants to express so much gratitude for that. She knows that the local chapter, in addition to having made more than a dozen emergency grants to local producers, will be making a donation to this resilience fund. So thank you, Kim, for that. I think we all, you know, if you've been to Terra Madre, you've seen the global impact of slow food. And I think this is a moment to come together to support Slow Food International. Joel, I want to turn it over to you briefly. You wanted to, you have something on your mind? Joel Smith is the chair of the board of directors for Slow Food USA.
Hi, everyone. I feel like I know at least half of you personally and the rest virtually. You know, sometimes I feel like the non-native English speakers that we engage with are more eloquent and articulate in expressing what needs to be said than those of us who are native speakers in English. So I want to thank Paolo and Ursula and Elisa and Marta, especially for their eloquent words. For better or not for better or for worse, for better. I have been involved with slow food for 20 years now. I want to echo what Ursula said when she said that so much of the good that has come into her life since she's been involved with this movement has come from the values and the ideas and the philosophy of slow food. That is absolutely true with me as well. I also want to acknowledge something that Ursula said, which is that when one tries to explain to slow food communities, at least locally, that we exist only by virtue of our affiliation and lineage, and having been given birth by an international movement, that is an incredibly important thing that we must all recognize. My life personally has been improved and enriched immeasurably by having been involved with slow food all of these years. And so much of that enrichment has come by virtue of being a part of a global family, which Paolo emphasized. We are one family with one mother, which is Slow Food International. We were birthed in Italy, or in Bra. Our family is in trouble right now. And I feel like it's incumbent upon us to come together and strengthen our unity as a family in order to make sure that we survive and are stronger when we recover our health and come out on the other side. I would like everyone on this call to think about the fact that the strength of that international family, which includes us, is absolutely incredibly essential for the future of slow food. Without Slow Food International, we don't survive here in the United States. The philosophy and the spirit of the snail doesn't exist anymore. It may be a difficult thing for you to try to communicate to the hyper-local supporters of slow food who believe at some level, which is true, that slow food needs to operate only hyper-locally. But the snail will not exist. We will not have a future if we as a family don't come together and support Slow Food International, and by extension, supporting ourselves. That's my appeal to all of you. Please reach out to your local chapters, your local members, anyone who has ever felt like slow food has enriched their lives, to communicate to them that we are a family which is in need right now for support from all of its members. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel. Are there any last questions before we sign off here? Lily Haffey is saying the E.E. Murray Family Foundation in Lexington has given them a grant which might be available to other localities to set up a Nourish Lexington initiative. Lily, would you be willing to put a contact information for you in case anyone would like more information about that? I just want to thank everyone for your time. If there's no other questions, we can wrap up. Please let me know if you have any questions about any of the initiatives that we're doing. I'll put my email in right here. Anna@slowfoodusa.org is my email. We are here to support you. We're here to support Slow Food International. As Joel said, we are together in this global movement and really want to show the strength of slow food as a global grassroots network, especially in this moment. So I really appreciate you, Paolo, Marta, Ursula, and Elisa, for joining us today and bringing in the global perspective. Hopefully we can do this more moving forward. I think it's really nice to be able to share and understand what's happening globally. You know, we see that at Terra Madre, but it's nice throughout the year to also hear from you more directly.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you to all of you for your time. And also, just to close with something positive, it's a difficult period, but as I said, we will be stronger than before. And I'm sure that this, as I said, will speed up the process to improve and to win our battle for good, clean, and fair food for all. So it's true, it's difficult, but we will overcome. We have passed through many crises, but all together we will overcome, and it will be again much, also nicer to stand together, to remember the difficult period, and to really celebrate the fact that good, clean, and fair food for all is not anymore just an idea. It's the only option that this planet has.
Thank you, Paolo. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So maybe I'll unmute everyone. You can say goodbye. Unmute all.
Ciao.
Okay.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
All right, see you guys. Take care.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, take care.
Thank you.